Ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, it's been a while since the last video. The topic of today is not really unpopular, but I think a lot of people aren't considering what's going on, and that is the state of the economy. I think it is extremely easy to blame which side of the political spectrum is at fault for the economy, and yes, there's definitely clear things that contribute to the economy as in general from a negative or a positive perspective. And I'm talking about the average person, right? Not the mega wealthy. For example, the one that the one that causes me of great concern is the recent events with the farmers that cannot sell their soybeans to China. It went from like 12 billion down to like zero in this year alone. And it made me wonder because a lot of people are blaming Trump for the cause of the tariffs. And it made me started thinking, it's like, is Trump really the one who caused all of these issues? You know, wasn't there other things that were at play? And then suddenly, when the tariffs were in place, because Trump decided to push back against China, obviously China did retaliatory action. So the farmers are screwed. But have you ever considered the fact that at some point China might have done the exact same thing? What if China decided to actually change their imports to Brazil? Because that's what they're doing right now. What if China decided to screw us so much that they decided that it was not worth negotiating with the US on trade? We can blame Trump for the tariffs, but realistic speaking, China could do it at any moment if they wanted to, as partners. So while it is easy to blame Trump, we have to really think about what are the effects of everything that surrounds trade agreements. I mean, people forget, we bailed out the banks in 2008, but we didn't bail out the citizens. People who were most affected were the citizens. Nobody cared about that. People forget that during the period of Bill Clinton, he signed away NAFTA, shipping jobs overseas. Who would have thought that? I mean, the average folk probably understood what that was, but the people who made these laws didn't. But who would have thought that now we're suffering the effects from that? Jobs aren't moving back to the US. A lot of companies are now switching to automation. But what is in it for the average man then? I mean, I already know what's going to be the after effect of this, and that is that a lot of the jobs are going to go from these fake jobs. Like, let's say, unfortunately, I'm sad to say this, but HR and management, in that sense, are not real jobs, right? They're supplemental jobs. Like, you can survive without HR. You can't survive without electricians. That's what I'm talking about. But again, think about what I'm talking about here. The average person is struggling, right? The average person, when they get laid off from their job, will have an increasingly harder time to find a new one. And yes, in some sectors, it may be much better to find an easier job, entry level even. But for the average person who's kind of going through the motions, I can imagine that's millions, 50 to 100 million Americans who are stuck in this loop, this perpetual loop of maybe finding something and just not paying enough of the bills, then maybe getting laid off or cutting back, which I've heard multiple people getting laid off for no reason. Life happens. It made me start thinking again, we blame Trump on the issues with the economy, but I think it was just a perpetual cycle of people in power who cared nothing about the citizens. Again, I could mention the housing crisis situation, NAFTA situation. But, I mean, there's probably other things that are going under the table that we don't even know about. I'm no conspiracy theorist, but I'm pretty sure everybody understands what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure there's billion-dollar deals that go under the table before they vote on new legislation. I'm pretty sure that the pharma industry is aligned with the nutrition industry, I'm going on a tangent here, but my point is that there's deals under the table that we, the citizens, are not included in because obviously we don't care. They don't care about us. But again, I'm going to go back to the same cliche sentence. It made me start thinking, what's going to happen to the average person, the average man? What's going to be the job for the future for them? Because all they want is a job to sustain their families. That's really all they want. I mean, don't get me wrong, no man wants to work for 90 years and still be poor. So there has to be some leniency here. And while I am a capitalist and an entrepreneur in spirit, right? I believe that innovation breeds success. I also understand that not everybody can be that successful. Not everybody is going to be the next Bill Gates. Most people will not be able to overcome the barriers of being successful. And most of it will be due to the market conditions. I mean, I see posts constantly about health insurance. And not health insurance. It was about retirement, the 401k, where you could save $10,000 a year, you contribute to 401k, etc. And then I commented, it's like, that'll get wiped out in a single ER visit, right? And there was people in the comments responding to mine saying things like, you just gotta get you a good job. First of all, I was gonna facepalm myself because most companies today, the average company, I don't even think offers extremely good health insurance. Their deductibles are usually high, even if you get the best plan. And usually that means really high monthly premium to have a lower deductible. I may be mistaken, but a lot of companies don't even offer good health insurance. So that comment kind of ticked me off. And it's like, you can even search for insurance for yourself. Deductible is stupid high. Last time I checked, it was like 12 grand per year. And it was like $400 monthly for you. It's not even cheap. Not at all. Now, that's just the health insurance side of things. And then you have house insurance. If you get a house, which is skyrocketing. And then you got car insurance, which is absolutely insanely stupid expensive. All of those costs, they add up. And the average job doesn't even pay for that. I mean, just to put in perspective, right? The average job here in Lower Alabama, I think they're starting to approach $15 an hour. That's starting. That's not even like standard right now. Yes, there's a lot of jobs that pay more than that, but you really got to be specialized in some field. But when you consider that, that's not even that much after taxes. House insurance that I live in, right? I pay something close to like, I don't know, $3,500 a year. Break that down yourself. Car insurance is like $130 a month. Internet is approaching $200 or maybe $250 with phone bills. And then the car payments, which is approaching $500 a month. I mean, when you really start adding all these things up, there's no money, not zero. And people may complain to me and say, oh, you just got to do more. Like, I mean, come on, how much more? At some point, you kind of really have to weigh your options. What's going on here, right? And I'm not here to tell people to do certain things or not, but I think a lot of people really need to self-reflect on the state of their lives and their economy. We live with our feet, that is true. But what we also do is make stupid decisions. And I see people doing, including myself, more stupid decisions than wise ones. Now, what do I recommend? This is a hard one. I actually can't recommend anything because the moment I recommend something, it's probably not going to work for you. But, solid recommendations that actually still work today are trades. Many people are still paid decently well in the trades. Now, I'm not a specific advocate for the union in the trades, but I think it's probably the best overall safety.
So union jobs with trades, I think, are pretty good in general, even in the lower 48, right? Sorry, not lower 48, South Alabama. I mean, as far as I remember, I was when I was an electrician in the union, the IBW, they were paying starting as an apprentice was like $18 an hour, right? I did 2 years, but I got constantly sick, so I kind of had to quit, unfortunately. But they were, I will say, they were one of the few companies, if you could call it a company, that actually paid really good full benefits. There was full health coverage, no complaints there. Now you'd have to pay like a copay of $35 every time you went to visit a doctor, but still, cheap relatively speaking. But overall, I mean, we're those are probably the safest jobs I can think of. Now, if you need more specialization, you're probably gonna have to get into things like mechanic, airplane mechanics. Uh, I mean, worst comes to worst, go back to the university. It's gonna sound terrible, but go back to uni and get a specialized skill, like balls deep to the wall. Figure out a specialized skill. Because if you're looking for average, the average is gonna crush you. Nothing average works anymore at all. The whole you could be a newspaper boy and feed a family of three, that doesn't work anymore. You gotta have specialization, which takes years of practice. Which even if after years of practice, you may not be guaranteed a good job, but only specialization will save you. A lot of people are talking about making your own business, but the reality is, if there is business owners, there has to be business workers and business consumers, right? So again, not everybody can do the exact same thing. But if you want my honest advice, apart from the trades, is you really kind of have to figure things out by yourself. The moment someone tells you something, it's probably not going to work. That's why I talked about in a previous video about how that the best times for men are actually in moments of crisis because it really challenges their stress levels to constantly bombarded by negative thoughts. And they either grow from it and they're like, okay, we're going to figure this out right now. Or they let it simmer and they hate it. Those are the two kinds of men that you get in that situation. And it's really amazing the amount of ideas that you can come up with in those situations. Now, for myself, I'm not wealthy at all. I'm probably broke as hell. I don't have anything really much in my bank account. I'm basically living paycheck to paycheck, but I'm surviving, so to speak, right? But one of the things that I really thought about is there's always a way, right? The sentence, there's always a way. If you give up too early, you never really know what's going to go happen, right? You don't even know if tomorrow's going to be a better day than today. And what I'm trying to say to this message specifically is don't ever give up on the search for something that works for you. There's always something. You will end up figuring out something that fits you. And it's not this manifestation, right? It's about the ability to properly research things, properly understand it. And then it will come, but only if you try to find it. Remember that.